Former UFC middleweight champion Israel Adesanya failed in his attempt to regain the title after losing to defending champion Dricus Du Plessis via rear naked choke in the fourth round. Look, prior to this fight, prior to the two fighters locking horns in the octagon, there was a lot of controversy around the fight. You know, people's heritage was being questioned. You know what I mean? Du Plessis questioned Israel Adesanya, if he's really African, he doesn't live in Africa. They'll both say, who's the real African champion, etc., etc. A lot of the stuff that me personally, I don't really like see going on, with sports people. Do you know what I mean? You're meant to set an example, and you know what I mean. There's a lot of youngsters, kids watching you, so I want to see, the top guys, the elite guys, set a better example for the young ones. Especially in the world where we're living in now, there's a lot of division, a lot of race divisions, a lot of, do you know what I mean? A lot of negativity being pushed onto people. So, for the big guys, the elite sports guys, I want to see a better example, even though a lot of the time we see a lot of these fighters, elite athletes, after the combat, after the action, they show a lot of respect to each other. Do you know what I mean? It's good. I like that. I respect it, but come on, let's keep it clean before the fight as well. Do you know what I mean? I understand fighters and promoters, they have to sell fights, innit? Do you know what I mean? They have to sell tickets, they have to sell pay-per-views, but come on, man. Do you know what I mean? A lot of the race baiting and who's African and who's not and stuff like that. You're white, I'm black. Do you know what I mean? A lot of stuff like that, you could cause a lot of division. Do you know what I mean? You can cause a lot of problems in real time. So please, I ask you, elite sports people, just try and cut that out. Do you know what I mean? Be a bit more positive. But I understand it's a brutal sport. Do you know what I mean? It's a brutal sport. But enough for that. I just wanted to get that off my chest. But let's get back into the action. Israel Adesanya, Dricus Du Plessis, first round, very competitive. Both went back and forth. Second round, you know what I mean? Du Plessis took over, taking Israel Adesanya down. Third round, I feel like Du Plessis was tiring a bit. He looked a bit tired. He was starting to look a bit sluggish. And Israel Adesanya started going to the body a lot. And he did start taking over at that point. And I'm thinking, oh, hold on. This is Israel here. Easy's back. Do you know what I mean? He's going to the body. He's looking a little bit more sharper. But come the fourth round, both fighters, to be honest with you, look a bit sluggish. They looked like they were both tiring, but Du Plessis so awkward. He was throwing punches, awkward punches, lunging onto to punches, and he was hitting Adesanya. Do you know what I mean? And he finally caught Adesanya with a left to the top of the dome, and he unsettled Adesanya, and then Du Plessis proceeded to hit Adesanya a couple of times, dropped him, and this time Du Plessis did not waste no time. He went straight for the jugular, went straight for the choke, and he caught Easy slipping, slacking, and he choked him out. Easy had to tap out, do you know what I mean? Or he was gonna go to sleep. Um, Overall, look, my take on the fight, it wasn't the best title fight that I've ever seen in the UFC, to be honest with you. Du Plessis, the champion, look, I don't really rate him, do you know what I mean? But he does the job, innit? He's effective, his strategy, the way he fights is effective. He's not the most exciting style that I prefer, do you know what I mean? But he gets the job done. And he got the job done against Israel Adesanya, who's arguably one of the greatest middleweights the UFC's ever seen. So well done to Du Plessis. Do you know what I mean? He did well. He won the bragging rights and everything like that. He's defended the title, so he moves on. I want to talk about more about my Israel Adesanya. Do you know what I mean? I think in this fight, I'll be honest with you, yeah, that's the most sluggish Israel Adesanya I've ever seen. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, against Sean Strickland, he didn't look good either. Do you know what I mean? He wasn't letting his shots go. And in this fight against Dricus Du Plessis, like Easy just looks a bit slow to me, man. He looks like he's lost our sharpness. You know what I mean? Easy used to be a sniper, man. You know what I mean? He used to be vicious, like he used to be very accurate and precise with his strikes, kicks. Do you know what I mean? Jab, punches, and everything like that. He used to be very good, and Easy used to use a lot of feints to tempt his opponent into coming in and setting traps and then hitting them hard and knocking them out. Do you know what I mean? I just feel like in this fight, Easy looked a little bit off it. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how his training went. I don't know if he's all the psychological issues that's going on, do you know what I mean, with him and Du Plessis prior to the fight, do you know what I mean, the race stuff, the African heritage. I don't know if that actually got to him, do you know what I mean, but he is easy. He just didn't look like the usual self, do you know what I mean? Even when he was getting to the body, doing great job to the body, he was like, but he was countering Du Plessis as well, but it just easy just didn't look as sharp as he normally does, you know what I mean? I was very surprised, like he had Du Plessis hurt a couple of times, but he never really went for him. The old Easy would have finished Du Plessis. Do you know what I mean? Like, if this was Easy 5 years ago, yeah, when he was sharp on top of his game, he beats Du Plessis. Like, he beats Du Plessis. I think he beats him comfortably. Do you know what I mean? Because Du Plessis is one of them fighters, like, it's tailor-made for Easy, Israel Adesanya. Do you know what I mean? He stands there, he's big, he's lumpy, he's not the fastest. He try and get takedowns, but Israel Adesanya, when he was sharp, when he was on top of his game, yeah, he beat Du Plessis comfortably. That's what I think. I personally think he beats Du Plessis comfortably. But Israel Adesanya lately just looks off it. Now, look, he's got a lot going on. He does a lot of stuff outside of UFC, outside of MMA. He's got, do you know what I mean? He's doing streams, he's doing YouTube, he's doing so many things, sponsorship deals. He must be so busy. Do you know what I mean? He's made enough money. He doesn't need the money anymore. Do you know what I mean? And I'm just thinking, I'm looking and I'm thinking, is Israel Adesanya at 35 years old, yeah? He's been the champion. He's defended multiple times. He's lost it. He's regained it. He beat Alex Pereira after losing 3 times to him. Like, what really has Israel Adesanya got left to prove? Do you know what I mean? What more can Israel Adesanya really do? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing really left. Do you know what I mean? I don't want Israel Adesanya to become them fighters where he becomes a gatekeeper. Do you know what I mean? Where the next crop of middleweights coming up, they're gonna have to like fight Israel Adesanya on the way up, on the way to the top. I don't want that for Israel Adesanya. For me, he's a legend of the sport, one of the greatest fighters the UFC's ever seen. Do you know what I mean? Especially as a striker, it's probably one of the best that we've ever seen in the UFC. So I want to see him go at the right way. Do you know what I mean? I want to see him go at the top. And he's lost what? Back-to-back fights against Sean Strickland. Now he's lost against Dricus Du Plessis. And in both fights, to be honest with you, he didn't look particularly good. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know if it's the training regime. I don't know if something psychological going on. But he seems to have lost a step. And for me, looking at Israel Adesanya, I don't think he needs to carry on, man. I don't think he needs to carry. Like, who does he fight next? Who's out there for him to fight? And for what? What's he fighting them for? Do you know what I mean? Like, Israel Adesanya is a championship fighter. Do you know what I mean? He's a title fighter. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to see him outside, you know, having to rebuild himself and build himself back up to fight for a title, man. I just don't see that with him. And has he really got the hunger anymore? I don't think like Israel Adesanya still got the hunger for the sport. He did say in his interview that he's not done. You're going to see him again. But to be honest with you, as a big fan of Israel Adesanya, I don't want to see him again in the octagon. But listen, hey, I can sit here and say whatever the hell I want. But at the end of the day, the decision is with Israel Adesanya. But as a fan, he's done so much. I just want to see him leave the way you know what I mean? Just leave. You've been choked out. You lost. I say just leave. But I know Israel Adesanya, the way he moves, he's not going to want to leave the sport on that image where he's tapping out. Do you know what I mean? He's probably going to want to come back and win a fight and go out in his own terms. And I respect that. He's got every right to do that. Listen, he's a future Hall of Famer. He's done a lot for the sport of MMA, the UFC, and everything like that. So listen, salute to Israel Adesanya. I'm just glad that he's healthy, he's good. Hopefully he's happy privately and everything like that. I just hope there's nothing in his private life that's affecting his performances in the octagon, because lately he has not looked too impressive. He hasn't looked like the Israel Adesanya that we've known that's been precise, sniper, precision. Do you know what I mean? Great counterpuncher. Do you know what I mean? He just hasn't looked that Israel Adesanya that we know. But you never know with these UFC fighters, man. You never know what's going on, what's, you know, training regime. You never know. Could be private life situation. You never know. But for me, Israel Adesanya, I think it's time to call it a day. Retire, my boy. You did great. You've made a lot of money. You're making money outside the UFC. Mate, more blessings for you, my boy. Do you know what I mean? May that continue. But listen, for Dricus Du Plessis, he's the champ now. I wonder who he fights next. It's probably going to be Sean Strickland, because the first fight they had, it was a tight fight. Do you know what I mean? It was a tight affair. So they're probably going to run that back. But Robert Whittaker's out there as well. You know what I mean? He's looking for a crack at the title as well. So we'll see how that goes, how everything pans out in the next few weeks, next couple of months. But guys, let me know what you think. Do you think it's time for Israel Adesanya the last style bender to retire. He's done a lot. You know, he defended the title multiple times. What more does he really have to prove? Get involved. Let me know in the comments. And what do you think is next for the champion, Dricus Du Plessis? Do you know what I mean? Where does he go from here? Who does he defend against next? Do you think it's Sean Strickland because the first fight was so tight? Do you know what I mean? I think that's going to be the fight that the UFC make next. But guys, let me know in the comments, man. Let me know what you think. And once again, I appreciate you for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until the next one, peace.